So you want to learn how to speak on stage and to be the most powerful communicator possible. Here's 5 tips to overcome stage fright. So I don't know about you, but when I first started learning how to communicate and speak from stage, I was so nervous. I was so scared about actually speaking in front of other people. Like when I would go and even when I was speaking in front of people at church or any small group at a real estate club or something, at that time, I would get so nervous that I would start sweating profusely. My knees would shake, and I was so terrified about what people would think. And they say that the fear of public speaking for a lot of people is even greater than the fear of death. I don't know if that's true or not, but what I do know is public speaking and the ability to communicate effectively is one of the most highly valued skills on the planet. And when I look at my journey, when I first started doing events and speaking on stages about a decade ago, it transformed my life when I actually learned these 5 skills to get out of stage fright and show up on stage as a powerful and dynamic speaker. And that skill has been worth millions of dollars for me. So I'm going to share with you some tools that I think will help you. So the first key to getting beyond your stage fright and showing up as a powerful communicator is perhaps the most important, and it's all about state management. What is state? State is the energy through which you're showing up in your life. And I want you to think about those moments when you've been afraid of speaking, when you've been nervous, when you've been scared. On a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate yourself? 10 being the most powerful version of you. Probably, if you're like me, if you're terrified, if you're nervous, you're probably at a level 3 or 4. So one of the best tips I can give you is to make sure that before you get on stage, you're in a peak state. I actually learned this from one of my friends who is actually Tony Robbins' son. And I was asking him, Tony Robbins, as we all know, is one of the most dynamic and powerful communicators on the planet. And he'll get on stage and he'll crush it in front of people that are, that are from around the world and have 15,000 people in his audience. And I asked my friend, it's like, so what's the secret? How does your dad make sure that he knocks it out of the park every time? And what I didn't know, and my friend told me, is that behind the stage, Tony Robbins has this rebounder. It's like a little mini trampoline that he jumps up and down, and he has these incantations, and he does these things that he does to make sure that when he gets on stage, he is already at a level 10. So I'm going to encourage you to do this. You don't need a trampoline. You don't need to do anything too crazy. But before I get on stage, you'll see me at the back of the room. I'm getting my body moving. I'm focusing on what I want. I'm giving myself some powerful affirmations, and I'm just getting my energy up to level 10 state, because I know from that energy, I can knock it out of the park. So the first key is to make sure that you're in a powerful state. The second key is the moment you get on stage is to plant your feet and allow yourself to get present. So much of this nervous energy makes it so that we're unbalanced and we're unsure and we're nervous and we're scared, and it's so easy for us to get distracted and to be worried about all these other things. So the first thing I do every time I get on stage is plant both feet and just get really grounded so I feel the strength of my body. And part of state is just managing your energy and standing in a powerful pose, because then from that moment you can command the audience and they see you as a leader. For me, I do something that's a little bit unique, which is when I pause, I actually hold the space of silence for a moment. So the announcer will bring me up, I'll stand up on stage, and I'll just stay grounded right there, and I'll scan the audience in total silence. Why am I doing this? It's so that I draw all of their attention and get them to a space of stillness. Sometimes silence is one of the most powerful things that allows us to communicate. But the most important thing is plant your feet, get grounded and get still, and focus on your breath and get present in that moment. So that's the second key. The third key is this. I always want to have the very beginning part of my presentation really strong inside my nervous system. So that's the most important thing. The nervousness, the tension only lasts for about 15, 20, 30 seconds. But the moment you get into the flow in your presentation, it's easy to maintain it. And so I always like to have a couple questions prepared or an attention-getting statement, something so that I don't need to worry about what I'm going to say as I get started. I want to have that attention-getting moment right from the beginning, planned, prepared, practice, so I can get on stage, scan the audience, ask the powerful question, or enroll them into the conversation right from the beginning. That's the most important part. I don't script the rest of my presentation, but I always like to know how I'm going to begin for the first 30 to 60 seconds so that I have that locked in and ready to go. Now, the fourth key is so important. Fourth key is the difference between whether or not you're just spouting out information or whether you're really connecting with your audience and delivering transformation. And the fourth key is get out of your head and get into your heart. The nervousness, the tension, the fear all exists when you're worried about what they're thinking about you. It comes from this selfish energy where you're like worried about what are they thinking? Am I saying the right things? Am I stumbling over my words? And the moment we get stuck in our head, we're dead. Remember that. So your goal is to get out of your head and get into your heart. Because for me, I notice if I'm worried about what they're thinking about me, it's so easy for me to be afraid and to worry about what they're gonna say. But when I'm grounded in my heart and I'm speaking to them through my heart energy, the audience can feel that. And they respond, and there's this rapport and there's connection. And when I'm speaking from my heart, I never have to worry about the words because they always flow easily and effortless through me because I'm focusing on serving that audience. And then the fifth key is the final key that I would offer in terms of getting past stage fright, and it's this. I never speak to an audience. I'm always speaking to one person. Even if there's 500 people in the room, I'm only speaking to the individual. And this is critical because all of us are comfortable talking one-on-one with another person, but it's when we have these big audiences or when we're recording videos and we're imagining thousands of people watching it that we all of a sudden create this reason for us to be nervous. But stop worrying about that. You're not speaking to an audience. You're only speaking to an individual. So speak to that individual. And so what I like to do when I'm speaking is I'm walking around on stage and I'm looking into the eyes of one person and I'm having a conversation with them and I'm pouring my heart into that one person. Then I'll switch and I'll find another person. There's always those people in the audience that are most responsive and that are leaning on the edge of their seat and they're tuned into your conversation. So I just look for those different people and I'm constantly speaking to different parts of the room and I'm looking for those individuals and I'm looking them in the eye when they're speaking. And here's what happens when you speak to the individual rather than the audience. Everyone that's in the room feels like you're speaking to them. Like they want you to succeed. They want you to knock it out of the park. They want you to be confident. They want you to deliver massive value. They want to cheer you on. They're there because they want you to show up as the best version of yourself and to give the absolute most powerful content that is possible to them. They're cheering for you. So step into being that leader and remember these steps. Number one, get into a peak state. Make sure that you're at a level 10 so you are showing up as that powerful leader. Number two, the secret is plant your feet, get grounded, and get present in the moment. Number three, have that first little segment of your presentation prepared so you don't need to worry about the words. You don't need to worry about it. You have that dialed in and you know how to connect with the audience and get their attention. Number four, as you're communicating, as you're speaking to them, make sure that you do that from that space of being in your peak energy state and to know that it's get out of your head and get into your heart. And the final step is stop speaking to an audience. That individual is waiting for that message, and so just speak to that one person. And just notice how easy it is to be a powerful, influential, and impactful speaker when you do this. Once again, these are a lot of hard-earned tips that I've gained from over 10 years on the stage and hosting over 150 3 or 4 day seminars, workshops, and retreats. And I'll tell you this, nothing compares with the impact that you get to make and how good it feels when you're changing people's lives by sharing your message. So go do it and practice. It's all about practice. Remember, this is important. If you want to be great at anything, you must be willing to suck at it first. So embrace the suck. Just go out and share your message and watch what happens. And make sure you subscribe to this channel so that you have additional tools and resources to help you show up powerfully and be that leader that you're meant to be in the world. So subscribe and click the link below to join our legendary tribe to support you in creating your legendary life.